Welcome back to Imagine If. I'm your host as always, The Butler. If this is your first time visiting the channel, welcome. This series is called Real versus Fake Scary Stories. I will be telling you a scary or paranormal story today about a man's will for love. This is a popular segment of the channel, and I want to thank everyone who supports this channel. At the end of the show, I will tell you if this story was based off of actual facts or if I completely fooled you with my creative imagination. With no further ado, let's jump right in. Me and my boyfriend got engaged back in 2008. I had moved to Oregon when I was 12 years old. My boyfriend had been in and out of foster homes his whole life, and he was actually from New Mexico. John moved to the area when he was 14 years old. Unfortunately, John had passed away in a car crash a few weeks before we were supposed to get married. I worked as a waitress at a local diner, and he was a car salesman on the upside of town. I remember the day he proposed to me. We were at the park. He got down on one knee and pulled out a beautiful diamond ring. It was a hand down from his grandmother. I wore it all the time, and I was planning on wearing it until the day I got my real wedding ring. Almost immediately after he passed away, I began to notice strange activity happening around my house. For instance, I have wooden eating utensils hanging on my wall near the kitchen. But every morning, my wooden utensils would be in a different order than I had left them. From left to right, I always put the utensils: fork, knife, spoon. That was the order that I preferred them to be in. But after waking up a couple nights out of the week, they would be in a completely different order. This happened at least a dozen times. Another strange thing that happened to me after he passed away was around 2 a.m. every other night, I would hear a knock at the front door. But when I looked at my Ring app, there would be no one standing there. Actually, there would be no one even in the vicinity. Now this has definitely happened at least 20 times. But the last time this happened, I actually did see someone on the Ring camera. It looked to be an older woman. An older woman that was knocking at my door at 2:15 a.m. I asked her, "Can I help you?" She said that she was looking for my deceased boyfriend. I asked her who she was, and she just walked away. I thought that was extremely creepy. So I instantly called my mother-in-law, or the mother of my deceased boyfriend. She picked up, but she told me that she had no idea who this woman could be. Then about a week or so later, I was at my job, which at this time I had just become a waitress at a different restaurant. I get an alert on my phone that there was motion detected at my front door. I opened up the app again, and there again, I see this old woman knocking on my door. I ask her again, "Who are you? Can I help you?" And again, she asked for my boyfriend. I told her that John was not around, and I asked, "Who are you?" She then opened my door to my house somehow and walked in. I live 5 minutes away, so I left work immediately and I rushed home. When I got there, the old woman was nowhere to be found. There was nothing missing or no signs of breaking and entering. In fact, my front door was locked, as if no one was ever there. That same night, as I'm laying down in bed, I hear someone or something rambling through the kitchen. I lock my doors, and as I listen, I call the police. I stayed on the phone with the police until the police arrived. They did the investigation and they said that there were no signs of breaking or entering. They didn't see any. Went over and asked, "Can I help you? Can I take your order?" She asked for a cup of coffee, black, and a ham and cheese sandwich. I took her order and began to make small talk with her. She told me that she was from the area, but it has been a very long time since she was back in the area. She told me that she had a lot of family that was in the area prior to the year before, and she had to leave because either most of her family members had passed away or they just completely moved to the north side of town. I told her that I was very sorry for her loss. I asked her, since she does know the area so well, does she know anyone that lived on my street? She looked at me with a blank stare and said, "I used to." And I asked her, who was the person that she used to know that lived on my street? She didn't answer me. Instead, she tilted her head back as if she was looking into the sky. But as she was looking to the sky, her eyes rolled back into the back of her head. I thought that this was extremely creepy. I was pretty scared, actually. It lasted about 15 seconds or so, and when she brought her head back down, She just continued to look at me with a blank stare. So I went to go get her food and coffee. When I got back to her booth, she was putting on her sunglasses, which I thought was odd because it was already dark outside. She got her jacket on and she was getting ready to leave. I asked her where she was going and was everything all right. And then what she told me next chilled me to the core. She told me that she had to leave. Unfortunately, she had been called back to return to the further. Her food was $7 even, but she left me $12 in cash and told me to keep the change. She also gave me a tan envelope. She asked me to not open the envelope until I got home that evening. I was pretty scared, but I agreed. So when my shift was over, I stopped by a local gas station to fill up on gas for the week. The whole time I was pretty anxious to see what was in this envelope, but I did agree not to even open it until I got home. As I was pumping gas, I seen this blue pickup truck drive by me, and I am 100% certain that the man driving was John, my deceased boyfriend. It was like it was in slow motion. We actually made eye contact. I seen his beautiful smile, and then the truck just sped off. I just brushed it off, and I thought my mind was just playing tricks on me. When I got home, I opened up the tan envelope. Inside of the envelope was a bunch of wallet-sized photos of the old woman. I continued to scramble through the photos, and I found one particular photo that creeped me out. It was a photo of my boyfriend John standing with this old woman. On the back of the photos, there was a handwriting that said mom and son. There were 17 photos of John and this old woman. At the bottom of the envelope was a wedding ring that was purchased earlier that month with the receipt. Also, on one of the photos, which did not include my boyfriend John, was the woman's name. So I went online to see if I could find any information about her. And that's when things took a more sinister turn. This woman, this old lady, who I clearly seen on the Ring camera and who I made physical contact with at the diner, actually passed away from leukemia 6 years before my boyfriend passed away in his car crash. That is the scariest thing that has ever happened to me, and the scariest feeling I have ever had. I tried to call my mother-in-law, or John's mother, and let her know what had happened. She answered the phone and simply was just as much as in shock as I was. I FaceTimed her the photos, and she confirmed that that lady was definitely John's biological mother. We talked on the phone for about an hour or so, exchanging tears and memories, and then I heard another knock at the door. I looked at the Ring camera, and pacing back and forth, clear as day, was John. I ran down the stairs to the front door. I opened the door, only to find a freshly picked rose left on the porch. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show of real versus fake scary stories. Before I tell you if this story was true or false, if you got any enjoyment out of today's show, please like, share, and of course, smash the subscribe button. So how do you guys think you scored today? Was this story true, or was it completely made up? If you answered this story was true, then I gotcha. This story never took place. Sleep tight.